Good day. This is Dimitri Lascaris coming to you for Reason to Resist from Montreal, Canada on July 22nd, 2024. 2 days ago, approximately, Laith Marouf was traveling in South Lebanon by car with our friend Hadi Hoteit, who has joined me today. And at a checkpoint, he was taken into custody by the Lebanese military, and he has not been heard from since. And we've invited Hadi onto our program in order to explain to us what has happened and what can be done to assist Laith in this situation. Hadi, who has been on our program before, who has accompanied me on my numerous trips to Lebanon, is not only an outstanding guide, but also, and a very courageous guide, but also a correspondent for Press TV. And he is the producer for Free Palestine TV, the media organization of which Laith is the executive director. Thank you for joining me, Hadi.
Thank you for having me, Dimitri.
So, Hadi, why don't you begin by telling us what happened when you last saw Laith? Where were you? What did the Lebanese soldiers say to you? And what do you know about what has happened to Laith since then?
Well, we were on our regular visits to South Lebanon to cover the Israeli incursions or the Israeli attacks. These attacks have been happening daily. So in one stage, you become like, it becomes a daily trip to South Lebanon to cover to show the people what's happening. So it is a sad thing that you start to go there daily because you are expecting daily violations, but also we discussed this, me and Laith, before, and we said that we will refuse to normalize the fact that Israel is attacking Lebanese people in their cars, their houses, and everything else. So even if these attacks will become daily attacks, even if the Lebanese news media outlet are not making this an important news, so you will find like in the last part of the news report, and today Israel struck 2 cars in South Lebanon, 2 people were martyred. Thank you. This is becoming the coverage of some Lebanese media outlets that who are actually, they are affiliated with let's say some pro-Western sentiment in Lebanon that is becoming sometimes pro-Zionist, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We refuse to accept this as a normal thing, and this is why we kept going to South Lebanon to document as much as we can every Israeli war crime against the people of South Lebanon, because after the ceasefire started, that was, by the way, guaranteed by the Americans before. Later they start saying that they have no guarantees. The ceasefire basically meant that every attack after the ceasefire is a war crime, because even if the Israelis were targeting military, basically Hezbollah or resistance fighters, these are not engaged in any war, act of war. So we were heading to Mais al-Jabal. We did not reach Mais, but we were heading to Mais, and we reached. Mais is a very remote village in South Lebanon. It's like it's inside the occupied Palestinian territory. So it's like a peninsula inside the Palestinian territories, and you have to cross a long road to reach it. Mais,
how far is it from the border with Palestine?
Look, do you remember when we visited Hula, me and
Yes.
you and Laith?
Yes.
It's even after Hula. And you
so
remember
it
Hula?
would be no more than a couple of kilometers from the border, basically.
It's directly on the borders.
Directly on the border. Okay.
Directly.
Yes.
Yeah. Directly.
Okay. Sorry, please go ahead.
So right now the Israelis are keep doing incursions. They sneak during the nights between the houses. By the way, many people of Mais returned to the town. It's a big town. Mais is a big town known for having furniture factories, an important industry in in the south in South Lebanon was in Mais al Jabal, and its population is more than 10,000, and it can reach more than this during summer days usually. So now, of course, we have many hundreds of people living there after the Israelis destroyed most of the town, and of course, because also there is lots of danger in returning to the town, but still hundreds of people return to Mesa and are fixing their homes, they are staying there. And the Israelis during the nights do some incursions with some commandos groups, and they enter Maize. They sometimes fire machine guns. They plant bombs and explode them later. And this is what happened 2 days before we went, me and Laith, to Mais al Jabal. The Israelis went inside the town and they planted bombs on 2 excavators. The excavators were working to remove the rubble of destroyed houses so people can rebuild. Now rebuilding is also an important thing in South Lebanon. The Israelis are doing what they can to deny people the right to rebuild their destroyed houses. And the Lebanese government is not helping at all, as you already know also, and we discussed this many times. I think also Laith spoke about it in your show. So the Israelis also, they could strike these excavators by drones, right? But they preferred to get their troops. This is important for your audience to know how the psychology of the Israelis work. Instead of sending a drone, and they do it also, they target people in Beirut precisely. They could easily target those 2 excavators 1.2 kilometers away from the borders in the middle square of Mais al Jabal. But instead of doing this, they entered Mais through ATVs and light vehicles, and they hovered the roads of Mais and entered the main square, and they booby-trapped the 2 excavators and they exploded them later to terrorize the people, to tell the people that you can be having a cup of tea in front of your house and you can suddenly see the Israelis entering your village and killing or destroying or exploding. So we went there to document this thing. And because the incursions are happening during the night, and to be honest, the journalists work during the day, because when you don't have sunlight and also your work hours finish, you return to your house if you are a regular journalist who work for some TV station, right? So this resulted in the last some weeks that the night incursions are not being covered in the media. So even the important media outlets like Al Mayadeen, Al Manar are covering these attacks by video and doing like a real coverage about them the next day. And sometimes they can't cover it because the Israelis went in, went out, and no one filmed anything. So we took the decision of going there. You know how we usually do. When someone is not covering something, this is when Leif thinks that it's worth covering, right? So he went there, and we knew the dangers of going there. We drove for almost 2 kilometers a road directly towards Palestine, and there were no one there. It was a dangerous situation, and it was after the sunset, and we were planning to stay there for some hours to have a coffee in the coffee shop. They had a coffee shop open in the middle of the village in the center, and to talk to people and to do our daily regular report from South Lebanon. This is when we were stopped by security people.
Sorry, was
These security
was
people,
this
by the way, are
was this at a checkpoint before you got into the village, or were you in the village and approached
yes,
by?
before. We didn't go to the village when we were stopped. later, when they stopped us, they took us to inside the village. But we
I
were
see.
stopped on the outskirts of the village, on the entrance of the village. And to be honest, they had the right to stop us and to ask us who we are. These guys are locals, and they are making sure that they know who's entering their village, because later they told us that they were suspecting these locals. They were suspecting that the Israelis, when they are entering freely, they are having some help from maybe some collaborators. So they are trying to monitor who is entering the village, who is escaping. But this is very usual. And I have, I'm a journalist, I'm a war correspondent, I have my press card, I have my permits, and I have my connections in South Lebanon. I can easily, if I was stopped by those security guys, I can easily tell them who I am, and this is very easy. And also the Lebanese Army know me, and they have my press number, and it's something that is very normal to happen. The bad thing that started is when it's not a bad thing, but the Lebanese Army came. They saw my permits, they saw everything, and this time, because it was maybe a very hard time, they went into a more, let's say, a more a deeper security check. And this is when they discovered that, okay, Laith is a Syrian Canadian, but he doesn't have his permit to pass through the south of Litani. This is a very small issue. Usually it's, to be honest with you, usually we solve this through a phone call. That's it. Like you do a phone call, you end up like, oh yes, we know Laith, he's with Hadi all the time, and it happens. If the guys wanted, because and this lack of permit, by the way, was due to routine. Because he's a foreigner, he had his residency being issued, and when you don't have your residency, you can't have the permit, so you must wait. It happened. And I told, as we stated in the statement released, it was a mistake, and we acknowledged this mistake. We had to have the permit. But this is when the things start to become not normal, because usually the permit will never lead to Laith being detained without any. Because, by the way, for example, we weren't filming, we weren't doing anything. We were just like driving the car. So usually you don't even get anything. Like, if you don't have a permit, please go back, or like, let me check who you are and go back, or let's issue a permit by phone. Sometimes they call the authorities and like they give you the permit by phone. Okay, you're allowed to continue, but when you come back, pass by to have the papers with you. And you know this, we have been through this with you when you came to South Lebanon many times, right?
Yeah, you and I together, I haven't counted them up, but I've been to Lebanon 4 times since the genocide began, and
Yes.
I would estimate that you and I, usually Laith was with us, but not always, crossed into South Lebanon about 10 times, maybe more.
And by the way, do you remember when we were stopped and we didn't have the permits?
Yes.
On the Anapura? What did they do to us?
They told us you can't enter. We drove away. And
it
by the
was
way,
directly after the war. It was directly after the
right.
war, and it was a very close checkpoint to the borders, if you remember. It was
Yes,
right before
Nakura
Annapura.
and Nakura has been the site of major combat and destruction, and and like Laith, I'm not a citizen of Lebanon, so I'm just a Canadian.
By the way,
In fact,
I didn't remember this.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the Lebanese military is a lot more familiar with Laith than they are with me. Laith has been going down. They must know Laith going back months.
Everyone knows Laith. Yes, everyone knows.
They know exactly who he is. They know he's not an operative of Israel, for Christ's sakes, or that he's there to do harm to people. He's a journalist who has been very, very critical
And
consistently.
they have ran security check, a
Yeah,
background check on him
yeah,
many times.
yeah. So
Like
from my
this.
perspective, having been there many times to South Lebanon with you and many times with Laith as well, I was very disturbed and concerned when you told me that he had been taken into custody. So why don't you tell us? Because this seems to me to be so unusual, and I don't know why they didn't just tell him go back. They know who he is. So why don't you tell us what happened after that? They then determined that he was
We
missing
were
a permit.
stopped.
Right.
Yeah, we were missing a permit. We were taken to the nearest barracks, or base, military base, where we were interrogated for like 2 hours, and they made sure that all my permits are valid, and they told me like you're free to go. That's
Mhm.
it. And even they gave us coffee, both of us, and they were very decent and very honorable with us. And they told Laith, we are going to be escorting you to Saida to issue a permit for you or to fix your situation, because this way will make things legal because you already entered. So the best thing to do now is to issue a permit for you, so you'll have a permit and this will be fixed this way. And this happens sometimes. Okay, so this is it. This is what they told us. And they told us, you're not detained. This is the literal thing. You are not detained. You are not being interrogated, by the way. When I said we were interrogated, they told us, like, we want to take some information from you and to make sure of it. We are not interrogating you. This is not an interrogation. You are journalists and you're not under any kind of interrogation, or you're not being charged of anything. You're not detained. This is what literally the officers there told us about. Later, when I went to Saida, and this was already being like 2 a.m. in the morning, I wasn't allowed to enter. I said, okay, maybe they don't know me in Saida, and I will just wait for Laith to go outside to finish the procedure. I waited for 2 or 3 hours, and he didn't come out. And later, the guys who are outside the security guys outside the military base in Saida, which is the command of South Lebanon for the Lebanese Army and the Lebanese intelligence, because we were stopped by the military intelligence. They told me, like, you can't stay here. You can't stay in front of the base. You must leave. Okay, can you confirm anything for me about Laith? Who is Laith? Laith, he went there inside your base, and we don't have anyone whose name is Laith. But I just saw that he entered. They told me, no, we don't have anyone. We can't confirm anything for you. Please leave now, or you will be also detained. So I had to leave, and I started my calls and checking, and I was expecting to be released like in a couple of hours also. I said, like, maybe it's some kind of Sunday bureaucracy because it was Sunday. So I waited, and he didn't get released. I went there immediately next morning, like after a few hours in the morning, to check, and they also told me, like, you can't ask anything, you can't know anything. We don't have anyone whose name is Laith, or can't give you any information. This is when I started to get worried. I contacted some people I know. I contacted the guys in the press I know, and called some of our mutual friends with Laith, and I told them what happened. And they also told me, like, he's gonna be released in a couple of hours. It's okay. It was Sunday, and they will probably release him. So I waited, and after waiting and checking that his phone is not replying anymore, like even it's not ringing anymore. He never replied to his phone, but his phone is no more ringing, and
So sorry. So
there is
from the moment he was taken away at the checkpoint, you have not had any communication with him at all, and neither has his
yes.
family. His family, he has a wife and kids in Beirut, and no one has had communication with him since that, which has been
Since
more than
the moment, yes,
it's been.
since the moment
By
he
my
was,
count, it's a little bit more than 48 hours since that happened, right?
that's correct. That's
Right,
correct. So
right.
since the moment he was taken from the Sarai of Tibnin to Saida, It was the last time I had any contact with him, or I spoke to him, or I saw. And to be honest, we're gonna go back to this, but of course they denied any kind of contact with him, and I talked to many people to try to contact him, and we weren't able to contact him. This is when I called the I decided to like take this more seriously. Maybe something is happening, and this is when I decided to call. First, I called his family, and then I called the embassy, the Canadian embassy, and I told them about Laith and that he's detained. And also I called the other the guys I usually talk when we take permits to South Lebanon, the guys related to giving press permits, and all of them were telling me also like, it's okay, it's a matter of hours and he'll be released. There is nothing to be afraid of. The same day he was not released, and also today he wasn't released until now, and I think the work hours finished in the usually they work until 5, and now it's in Lebanon it's 7 p.m. So we can also suggest that he won't be released today. So this will lead us to this question, like, since when not having a permit will lead to you being detained and deprived from talking to anyone, from contacting anyone, and without any kind of explanation, any charges, anything, and no one is able to reach Laith or contact him. This is when I actually used some of my my personal contacts, and I was notified by a friend of mine that he has the information, he has access to information that Laith is detained, has been transferred to the Ministry of Defense, to the headquarters of the Mukhabarat, of the military intelligence. He is being detained there, and he is being extensively interrogated by a higher level of officers, and they are investigating many things related to his actions in Lebanon. I said, like, okay, are they charging him of anything? He said, no, there are no charges until now. Okay, then what's gonna happen? He told me, like, I don't think I can tell you what's gonna happen, but it looks like he's not gonna be released soon. And this is when you come to the, to where we are now, to our situation. Why we are worried? We are worried because why is he detained? He is not being. They are not accusing him of anything that deserves to be detained, and this happened many times before, and no one gets detained because he doesn't have a permit. Even if he was detained, like, okay, he was detained now for 2 days, and we're entering the 3rd day. So basically, it's not natural.
Yeah,
it's not natural.
Absolutely. I can't stress enough, for those who don't know Laith as well as you and I do, that Laith has been reporting from Beirut and South Lebanon on an almost daily basis for a couple of years now, if not longer. I mean, there's just no question that anybody who in Lebanon who just spends a modicum of time looking into his background will figure out very quickly that he's a journalist, executive director of.
Yeah, they can use Google.
The man is an open book. It's so easy to determine that he's a journalist, and he has, of course, he's been very critical of the Lebanese government. He's been very critical of the Lebanese army.
And And this is what gets us into more deeper analysis. We might get
Right.
into it, me and you.
So I'd like to go there right now and ask, but before I do that, I just want to ask you one question. When you spoke to the Canadian Embassy, and again, Laith is a citizen of Canada, lived here many years up until I think 3 years ago when he moved to Lebanon. Um, what did they say to you, if anything, when you informed them of Laith's situation?
I called them. They later replied, and I told them what happened. They took his name, and they told me that they will be trying to follow up, but they can't promise anything. And they told me also, like, if I know something, I must also, like, they asked me to call them and tell them if I have also information they might not have. Now, today they sent me a list of lawyers, and they told me, like, if Laith was accused of anything, this list of lawyers might be helpful. And they also are going to update me if anything, if they went and met him. Now, I'm suppose that today they should be going there to meet him and to make sure that he's fine. And when I receive this information, I will tell you about it.
Okay, so let's talk about,
I hope they will be able to do it, because legally today, uh, I'm not a family member, so I cannot go there. I asked Laith's lawyer, by the way, if he can go there. He told me, I'm gonna get into this now, okay? He told me that he can't go to this Mukhabarat headquarters to see Laith. I told him, but you're a lawyer. You must, like, doesn't he have the right to see his lawyer? He told me, no, he can't. So this is when I didn't know this before. I told him, like, can you explain for me why someone can see his lawyer because he's detained with no charges? Can you explain it? And this is when I knew that there is a gap in the Lebanese law that does not define the mukhabarat or the military intelligence as a force that is subject to the laws of the courts. Okay, I'm translating from Arabic, but I think this is like that might
Mhm,
be.
mhm,
So
mhm.
so you have laws related to courts in Lebanon.
We call it due
Uh,
process here. I think what you're referring to is due process. It's basically
yes.
how the rules governing, interrogation, detention, arrest, and so forth, which court.
Exactly,
Right,
exactly. So
right.
the military intelligence are not uh, don't have to obey these laws. Uh, this means this can have two meanings. The first meaning is that they don't have the right to detain people because they are not subject to these laws, so they don't have this right. Someone else should have the right to detain and send people to court, because in order to do this, you have to be subject to these laws to do it. There
Mhm.
is another explanation that they are above these laws and they can do whatever they want and they don't care about these laws. So he told me
Right.
that as lawyers and as a legal body in Lebanon, they have been going through this struggle with the mukhabarat, with the military intelligence since ever, and they haven't reached anywhere with them. And instead of them being not subject to this law, which means that they don't have the right to stop people and to detain them and to interrogate them, because people will be without any rights under these conditions, they tend to go to the other extreme, which is they stop people, interrogate them, investigate anything, and detain them for there is no limit for the detainment that can happen. They can detain people without limits, and the people detained there have no right to see anyone, and they have the right to lie to you. And this is why this is when I understand why when I went there and I asked them, like, do you have Laith here? They told me no, and he was inside. I saw him getting inside, but they told me, like, we don't have anyone named Laith Marouf. And this
Mhm.
is why some people are saying that I'm not accusing anyone of anything right now. Why? Because first, the most important thing is they should be released. Second, we can discuss this later. Third, there is some logic and some security measures that I can understand because we are in war and something. Okay, but just put this aside. Uh, it's this is the problem now. Like how this is why people who are saying, for example, like these are regular measures. They don't understand this. They
Yeah.
don't understand that what's happening is not something like, for example, it's not like they have a limit of 48 hours and then they will release any detainee without charges. So I will be
Mhm.
relieved. Like I would tell you, Dimitri, like it's okay. After 48 hours, Laith will be freed anyway. So if he wasn't charged of anything, he will be free. No, I can't say this because I don't know when he's gonna be free, and no law can affect them. And I don't know. This is why I'm taking this very seriously. We, as Free Palestine TV team and his family, are taking this very seriously. Also, we can add this to to the political pressure that right now is all the community of resistance in Lebanon is subject to, and Laith is one of the voices of this community in
Yeah. So I
Lebanon
want to I want to I
in
want to ask
English.
you about that, Hadi. So
Yeah,
as I've discussed with Laith on this program, uh, the government, uh, led by the president, Joseph Aoun, um, first of all, is I don't know if you want to use the word collaborationist, but it definitely is viewed much more positively by the United States and Israel than the resistance
I
is.
won't I
The-
won't use the word collaborationist, but I will explain my point of view later.
yeah,
Why it's
but I
yeah,
just want to say
yes,
this government. Okay, that may well be too strong a word, but I don't think there's any serious question. If you disagree, please tell us. But I don't think there's
yeah,
any serious question that this government is viewed by the United States and Israel as being the legitimate government, and they want that government to do certain things. One of which is to disarm Hezbollah,
Hezbollah,
and they're
yes,
putting enormous pressure on the Lebanese government led by Aoun to do that, even though that
Salam,
very
The
likely,
Lebanese government led by Salam, Nawaf Salam,
right, that's the prime minister, right? The head of state
the
is Aoun,
government.
correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
right,
I
right,
thought the government. Yes, yes,
right. In any case, it's widely believed. Certainly, I'm one of these people who believes this, having spent a lot of time in Lebanon recently, that if the Lebanese army actually tried to force Hezbollah to disarm, that might very well provoke a civil war. And it certainly would be a very dangerous thing. And there's immense pressure. I think the U.S. representative to Lebanon, the envoy Barak, actually went so far as to say that if you don't disarm Hezbollah, both the Israelis and the Syrian forces, or the forces of this terrorist in Damascus, Al Julani, will attack and
annex
will
Lebanon. Well, annex Lebanon.
correctly effectively make Lebanon another province of Syria that's now led by this so-called reformed terrorist Al Julani. In any
Yeah,
case, why don't you talk to us?
They will unify our countries again.
Correct. So, given, I think it would be fair to say, and please elaborate on this, that Laith has been very critical of the government for being, shall we say, too cooperative with the Israelis and the Americans, and he's expressed a lot of concern about where all of this is heading. So, why don't you tell us
He's being
about
the
that?
voice of the people. This is
Right.
everyone. What Laith is saying represents the people of Lebanon. Now, not all of our people can speak in English, but definitely Laith is speaking on their behalf after meeting them, after doing interviews with them. When we go and visit people, when we go have a coffee on a border village, we discuss this with people. How they are thinking. And we asked them, what's your opinion? I don't know if you have seen our latest report, the last report we did with Laith. Did you
I
see
have
it?
not seen it. I have not seen it yet. No.
I highly recommend that you would see it. And when you post this episode, if you posted it on Twitter, I would put a link for the video, or you can simply like look it and share
I'll
it.
put it. I'll
It
put a
it
link
it
to it in the description to
it,
the
it
video on YouTube.
includes a special interview with Abu Ali from Khiyam village. It's a very important interview. I will ask your people to listen to how this man spoke about how he is feeling. And we did this interview 1 hour after his neighbor was killed by a drone strike while he was fixing water pipes on his house. So it was a very uh, uh, it was a very intense moment for him, and we did this interview under the an overlooking Israeli base that can be seen in the other side uh, of the video. So
And so
basically,
this interview was done in South Lebanon,
yeah, of
right?
course, it was
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
in Al Khiyam village.
Right.
It was in South Lebanon. So this will, why I'm saying this, because this will explain better than my words, a lot better than my words, how the people are feeling. And this is not Laith talking. You will see Abu Ali talking something that is even not more than what Laith says
Right.
about the critique of the government and of the Lebanese army and of the Lebanese president.
Yeah.
And um,
I just want to interject here, Hadi, so that people
yeah,
understand this. So
okay, okay,
if you've been watching us, on Reason to Resist talk about what's going on in Lebanon,
yes,
you know this already, but I want to make sure people understand this. Since this so-called ceasefire came into effect,
yes.
Israel has attacked Lebanon, I understand, on more than 1,500 occasions. Is that correct?
3,600 violations.
3,600
Oh,
violations. And is there a single
only.
instance? Is there a single instance in which the Lebanese army retaliated or responded to any of these violations? Right. And this is a point that you and your coverage on Free Palestine TV, I'm sure, have been making. And so your guests, the people you've interviewed, that the Lebanese army, which now has Laith in its custody, has done absolutely nothing, zero, to stop Israel's aggressions
One
against
one
Lebanon.
comment one comment of the update I posted on Free Palestine TV was that one person mentioned this. He said that, or she said that uh, the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army has the Israelis attacking them from the south, the HTS attacking them from the east and threatening Lebanon of annexing Lebanon. And what do? They arrest Laith Marouf. Yeah, I think this is fair enough to describe the situation. And
Right.
also, this will show you, this is a very uh, strong response to anyone who's saying that Laith was posing a security breach on the border. You know, we were
Right.
literally, me and Laith, heading to Maisr Jabal, to the borders, to cover or uncover for the audience the security breaches of the Israelis, and the incursions of the Israelis that are happening in South Lebanon, the demolitions of the houses that are happening in South Lebanon, the killings, the attacks, the drone strikes. So we were heading there to, to uh, tell people about these security breaches, and it looks like Laith poses a more a security breach than these things, maybe for
Yeah.
the Lebanese authorities. Now, I'm not going easy on the authorities. I'm just like, I like to hold my words a bit because Laith is still in custody and we won't have release. So, but
Right.
what's happening is hilarious, my dear
Right.
friend. It's
And I,
hilarious.
and I think it's in a sick sort of way. Yes, it's hilarious. So I think that it's fair to say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that the
Yes,
the editorial posture of Free Palestine TV is quite sympathetic to the resistance in Lebanon. Is that fair?
of course, of
Yeah,
course,
right. The
of
very
course.
resistance that the Lebanese army is trying to wants to disarm. It's not trying to, but
The command of the
yeah,
command or the political command influencing the Lebanese army are trying to make the Lebanese army disarm the resistance. And
right.
the government led by Nawaf Salam, who is some people calling him in Lebanon Nawaf Shlomo. He is because Shlomo is a Hebrew translation of Salam. You know, it means peace, but in Hebrew, and Salam
Hmm.
means peace in Arabic.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think it's quite revealing what people think of our
Right.
prime minister. But
Right.
honestly, they aren't even issuing statements condemning the Israeli attacks. And once the foreign minister or the minister, I don't know what I said, he said that, like, do you want me to issue a statement each time Israel attack Lebanon? This will be very, tiring for me. It will be very frustrating. I have to follow up each attack and issue each. Every time they attack Lebanon, I have to issue a statement. I won't be issuing a statement each attack. So if this was his former reply in a talk show, when they told him, like, why aren't you even issuing a statement condemning the Israeli attacks? So this is
Right.
the government we are dealing with. Now I'm from South Lebanon. I'm not easy on this. I'm a supporter of the resistance against anyone who tries to attack our people or invade our lands. I'm not easy on this, and I'm also against any government or any Lebanese power, military, police. I don't know who wants to deprive us from the right of resisting occupation and resisting oppression while not giving us any other solution. What are the other solutions? Even if they say that our weapon is not really effective, well, okay, it's not effective. But what's your other solution? What are you suggesting? To I think your audience won't believe this, and personally, I didn't believe it. I had to check myself. But a minister in this government, literally said when he was asked, like, okay, the same thing I was asking, like, what to do if you remove the weapons of the resistance because they are claiming that these weapons are ineffective, but I believe that the weapons of the resistance, the remaining arsenal of the resistance, is very effective. And this is the only reason why Israel is not now under my house. And this is the only reason. There is no other reason why Israel is not doing to Lebanon the same thing they are doing to Syria and to south of Syria right now, or to West Bank, or to Gaza. The
Yeah.
only thing that is making them not able to do this to Lebanon is the remaining arsenal of the resistance. Point al-Alini.
Of course.
But
There's no
but but
question if
yeah,
Israel thought that it could occupy
a
South
minister
Lebanon.
in the Lebanese government, Dimitri, a minister in the Lebanese government, an official, he said literally this as a response to this question. He said, "We can cry on the shoulders of the Americans each time we are attacked by Israel." This was his formal response on a TV show. He told me, like, this is all. What can we do? We can cry on the shoulders of the Americans each time we are attacked, and we tell the Americans, please tell the Israelis not to attack us. This is the best thing we can do. And the Americans like us. This is what we are saying. The Americans like us. They are sympathetic with us, so they might really act and do something.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. Your
The
audience will
Americans,
think I'm kidding.
they're going to stop this.
They can go and check it. His name is
Right.
Youssef Raji. He is the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Lebanon.
So the
Go and
minister
check
thinks
his
that
statement.
the Americans who are basically directing
Bombing
Israeli
the Middle
weapons,
East. bombing the Middle
destroying the
East
Middle East,
are
they're going to
sympathetic with
restrain
us.
Israel from attacking Lebanon because they like the Lebanese government. I mean, that is the most preposterous thing imaginable. Wow.
You should
That's
interview this guy, by the way. Ask,
yeah.
I really want you to interview him. I will be very
Sure, I
happy to
will.
listen to this interview.
And then the
Ask him
next time
for
I'm
an
in
interview.
Lebanon, I'll find myself under arrest by military intelligence. But in any case, so
Don't worry. If I
yeah.
wasn't arrested with you, I'll do a campaign to release you.
Yes, I trust you'll do a great job. So, look, the last thing I want to do before we go in, this people understand this isn't just there. It's not just that Laith and you and the Free Palestine TV have been giving voice to the people who are upset. The Lebanese people are upset with the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army for not protecting them. It's not just that you've been intensely critical of all this pressure that's being put on the Lebanese government, and also the overthrow, the replacement of Bashar al-Assad with this character al-Julani and so forth. Also, the Israeli government itself. I would imagine you're aware of this, Hadi, but you might not be. When Laith was in Canada, up until he went to Beirut, he was an outspoken critic of Israel and Zionism. And it was either last year or in 2023. I think it might have been last year. The Israeli government put out the government of Israel. This wasn't a Zionist group, some lobby group. It was the government of Israel itself put out a report in which it purported to identify the 5 worst anti-Semites in Canada, and Laith was one of those people. 4 out of the 5 people identified and groups identified were all pro-Palestinian advocates, all of them. And then they threw in some other guy I'd never heard of before, who I think was actually a genuine anti-Semite. They had to put in somebody in there who was, but the point here is that Laith is actually on the radar of the Israeli government. They hate Laith with a passion. And that is who knows whether that's playing a role here as well. And the last
this is why many people are logically thinking that what's happening, the amount of extensive detainment and interrogation and cutting his connections with everyone, confiscating electronic devices, searching his phone, his connections, his calls. They think that many people are pointing out that this might be related actually to his strong political views. And by the way, Laith isn't sided politically regarding internal politics in Lebanon. No, he's only sided with the Lebanese people against the Israeli people. That's it. He's not
affiliated.
Lebanese politics
he's not affiliated with any political.
He's not affiliating with anyone.
Right.
I mean it. I'm not like he's literally not affiliated, even with to be honest, even with the internal politics of Hezbollah. Laith is critical of the internal politics of Hezbollah many times. You know this, and we have discussed this many times. And he's not, but Laith is with the with everything that is opposed to the Israeli oppression and aggression against Lebanon and the people of the area, and he's with everything that is crucial and important for the people of Lebanon to stay sovereign and independent.
Yeah, and he's not sectarian either. He isn't like hostility towards the Sunni or the Christians or anything. He's completely non-sectarian, and
he's the most non-sectarian activist I know in Lebanon.
Yeah. So just to go back, just to close it out, but to go back, I just want to show people. I was talking about Laith's standing in Canada and how much the Zionists hate him in Canada. This is a post which you brought to my attention, Hadi, from a character named Mark Goldberg on X. He's a Canadian. I think he's some kind of tech executive. He's extremely pro-Israel. So you learned about this in Lebanon, about this post. Somebody brought it to your attention, then you brought it to my attention. And you'll see he says there, I wonder if Canada FP, that's the Foreign Ministry of Canada, has been engaged to assist. There are more than 130,000 reasons to have him return to Canada. This, by the way, this 130,000 relates to a dispute that Laith became embroiled in. He before leaving for Beirut, he ran a broadcasting consulting firm whose mission, this was an NGO, its mission was to ensure that the Canadian regulatory agency that takes care of the media, the broadcasting corporations in this country, was ensuring that diverse groups, racialized groups, indigenous groups, their rights were being respected under the broadcasting regulatory regime. And so in the course of doing that work, he was given a grant by a Canadian government. His NGO was given a grant by the Canadian government in the amount of about $130,000. And when the Zionists, found out about this, they just went crazy. And they put immense pressure on the Canadian government to recover that.
Because of his views, pro-Palestinian views and anti-Israeli views.
Yes, and his criticism of
not
Zionists.
Not because anything wrong with his work, but because of his political views.
Yes, so as I said, his defense of Palestinians has enraged, the Zionist community in Canada, and so they pressured the Trudeau government to recover the money that had been granted lawfully by the government to the NGO of which Laith was the leader, and then so the Canadian government, under this pressure, brought a lawsuit against this NGO to recover the money. And my understanding is the lawsuit has been settled and it's resolved and so forth. So this clown, Mark Goldberg, what he's suggesting is that it's complete nonsense. He's suggesting that the Canadian Foreign Ministry should help bring Laith back to Canada so that they can recover this money. Well, this whole thing, first of all, has been resolved.
This is what I wanted to point out. I thought you didn't know. It was resolved with the government. Now the government, Laith owes nothing to the Canadian government now, and they settled this, and it was resolved. Something correct. That Laith knows more to talk about.
Right. So even if Laith came back, there would be nothing to pursue Laith for. It's all done. It's gone. And but the thing that's really disgusting about this, I mean, this creep.
And he wasn't condemned, huh? He was not condemned.
Exactly. He was not condemned. There was nothing, absolutely no sanction was imposed upon Laith or his organization. So, and so I just want to show people a comment on this Goldberg tweet, which is so unbelievable that people can say these sorts of things and not be ashamed. Some guy named Zelig Rubenstein, who apparently isn't even Canadian because he has an American flag and an Israeli flag in his X profile, wrote, maybe the Lebanese Army.
He might have been promised Canada like 3,000 years ago. You don't know.
Great. So
you never know.
This character, Zelig Rubenstein, writes, maybe the Lebanese Army can send an arm or a leg to a TV station, so we'll see he's okay. Yeah, that's Zionism for you folks. And just underneath this guy,
I think you really don't need to explain or to talk anything more than this for the people. This is what the people who are right now dealing with Gaza, West Bank, south of Syria, and south of Lebanon. This represents the mentality of the Israelis.
And then underneath this Zelig Rubenstein, absolutely, Hadi, this guy Yoni Freedov. Yoni Freedov is a fanatical, frothing at the mouth Zionist who's a medical doctor in Canada. And he has basically appointed himself to persecute and harass any member of the medical profession in Canada who expresses sympathy for the Palestinian people. So he too commented on this, questioning whether Laith is a journalist, even though Laith has done more journalism, journalism.
Maybe Laith is a medical doctor. I don't know. Maybe he's like an astronaut or something.
Correct.
Ask Grok about it. You should ask Grok, what is Laith Marouf at Grok, and he'll reply. Maybe
I'll do that. Just right.
Yeah.
So look, at the end of the day, Hadi, we all hope that this turns out. Obviously, we're all hoping that this turns out to be just some misunderstanding around Laith's paperwork, and that they're just ensuring that Laith is a real journalist and so forth, and he'll be freed and everything will be fine. And maybe that's what's going to happen. But based on everything
hopefully.
that you and I have discussed, there's plenty of reason to be concerned. And
Yes.
I would suggest that people, why don't you tell us, how do you think people can help in this situation?
I personally call everyone who cares about Laith or cares about journalism, cares about knowing the truth that about things that's happening in our part of the world, especially in Lebanon and in South Lebanon, where me and Laith were reporting through this entire genocide that is ongoing since 2 years and counting, uh, maybe more than 2 years. Uh, I encourage them and urge them to basically share the things that they think Laith covered and they are important for them. Share the materials done by Laith, because this is one of the most important things to show people that Laith, what was Laith doing in South Lebanon, what was Laith doing during the war, and in North Lebanon, in Beqa Valley, and everywhere we went and covered news and stories from the ground. I urge the people to share this content and also to include a hashtag of release Laith Marouf in every content they share about Laith, because we need to pressure the government here. We need to also uh, raise the some awareness in the public opinion about the dangers for journalism if this thing becomes normalized. If any journalist who lacks, maybe, I don't know, who forgot his wallet in his house, can now be detained, and maybe his cameras and equipment will be confiscated and he will disappear for 3 to 4 days. For example, if I wasn't with Laith, who would have reported this? If I was detained with Laith, who would have reported this?
Hmm.
Right? This is
No
one
one would have any
important.
idea where they, yeah, yeah.
This is why some people are saying Laith was kidnapped. Well, I personally, I won't accuse the Lebanese army of kidnapping. They are the authorities. They have the right to investigate, to interrogate, to detain people. They have this right. This is a state, and this is uh, you have the military and the police and the military intelligence and the general security. You know this, but detaining people in such way is not something normal. And as I said, some people are describing this as kidnapping only because it looks like kidnapping. Uh, you got stopped. You're not charged of anything, and the same in the same moment, you're not also. No one is explaining why is Laith uh, detained. Is he charged of anything? If he is, let us know and we will stop asking about him. Okay, we will hire a lawyer and start the regular process of having a court and everything. If he's
Mhm,
not charged, then why he is detained?
mhm,
It's the same. It's a black or white situation. There is nothing called like half charged. There are no half accusations. Either he is accused of doing something that deserves to be detained, either he is innocent. That's it, right? Am I wrong? Because you're a lawyer, you can tell me about this. But if
right.
this was the case, then we have the right to be concerned. Not only because of Laith, by the way, because of us journalists, we have the
Mhm.
right to be concerned, because at any
Absolutely.
moment you could be in the place of Laith, and this is why I cannot be understanding or sympathetic with some journalists who are not paying any sympathy to Laith's case. This can happen to them only if they think that they are untouchables. That's a different thing. But anyone who is doing real journalistic work on the ground, anyone who is saying things that might not be suitable for everyone, or not everyone will like and you know, when you're doing real journalism, you won't be saying things that everyone will like. You know this. So
Mhm.
anyone should feel the danger of being a journalist without any protection. And Lebanon, because here we are talking about the constitution and laws, Lebanon guarantees the right of free speech. Lebanon is one of the most important Arabic countries in this, right? You know this. In
Mhm.
Lebanon, we critique other countries, basically other Arabic countries of being against free speech and you know, holding people accountable for posting something on X, maybe executing people, killing people only for posting something against the government or the king or anyone. But here in Lebanon, it's not like this. We have free speech. We have lots of media outlets. We have, um, so this is dangerous for everyone in Lebanon. Okay, and we hope that this will result in Laith's being released soon, because uh, it's not decent for us as Lebanese people, by the way, to accept that someone who is not Lebanese, who came to Lebanon, who is bearing danger and going to the borders, and he knows and I know that we might be targeted even by accident. You know, the Israelis could be targeting anything, and we could be next to it, and then we'll end up as casualties. And he is bearing this danger to tell the people about this truth, about what's happening here. And he does not deserve to be treated like this by the Lebanese government that represents and should be representing the Lebanese people.
Mhm.
Uh, this guy deserves to be treated deserves the due of someone who is really, his work is appreciated.
Mhm.
And this is why it should be upsetting for everyone what's happening. And we hope that this will, I said, I hope that Laith is released soon, and I urge the audience, your audience, and Laith's audience to share the content of Laith, of Free Palestine TV, especially the latest reports, and to uh, to include the hashtag release Laith Marouf, and also to talk about it, to address the Lebanese government in sending messages to every one of them have accounts on social media. At least send them some
Okay.
messages on social media about this. And we might be doing a press conference if this continued. Maybe tomorrow or after tomorrow, we hope we don't reach this point, but we might do a press conference in Lebanon, in front of the Ministry of Media, to try to pressure people, to pressure the government to tell us, at least give us access to Laith, to know about what's happening with him, to check on him, because
Right.
no lawyer can enter and no family members are in Lebanon, and he can't talk, speak with anyone. We don't know what's happening, actually.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
we'll
will be
definitely.
updating if I received anything from the Canadian embassy. I'll be updating you about this, because you're Canadian also. You will be
Yes.
interested
And we'll
in
definitely
knowing what
continue to
happened.
follow the story. Please keep us updated, and we'll let our audience know as soon as there are any
Hopefully.
significant developments. Thank you very much,
Hopefully.
Hadi. It's been a pleasure speaking with you as
Thank
always.
you for, thank you, Dimitri. Thank you.
We're signing off today from Montreal and Beirut on July 22nd, 2025.